Now, the title of this book will grab you. It is Faith, Purpose, and Politics, Running the Race of My Life. Immediately, I was captivated. Tell me about how you chose your title.
Oh, I don't think I chose this title. It just came to me, and because I know I was in the race of my life.
All right, good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, January the 29th, 2025, and you know what time it is. It is Keeping Up with Congress, y'all. Keeping our eyes on Washington. All right on the screen in front of you, let's get started with these committee meetings. Business meeting to consider the nomination of Russell Vaught of Virginia to be Director of the Office of Management and Budget. It's happening tomorrow at noon. Hearing to examine the nomination of Kashyap Patel of Nevada to be Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Department of Justice, happening tomorrow, 9:30 a.m., January the 30th, 9:30 a.m. Hearings to examine the nomination of Daniel Driscoll of North Carolina to be Secretary of the Army, Department of Defense, January 30th, tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. 9:30 a.m. Hearing to examine the nomination of Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii to be Director of National Intelligence, to be immediately followed by a closed hearing in SH 219. So that's also happening tomorrow, January the 30th, 10 o'clock a.m. Hearings to examine the nomination of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. of California to be Secretary of Health and Human Services, happening tomorrow, January the 30th, 10 o'clock a.m. This is one of two. His first hearing was actually this morning. If you didn't get a chance to go back and watch it, go back and watch it. I'm sure it's all over the news. Go back and watch it. Again, his second hearing is tomorrow, Thursday, January the 30th at 10 o'clock a.m. Business meeting to consider the nominations of Elise Stefanik of New York to be the representative of the United States of America to the United Nations. And that's happening tomorrow as well, 10:25 a.m. Tomorrow, Thursday, January 30th, 10:25 a.m. Hearings to examine the influence of the People's Republics of China at home and abroad, focusing on recommendations for policymakers. And that's happening tomorrow, January the 30th, 10:30 a.m. Hearings to examine the poisoning of America, focusing on fentanyl, its analogies, and the need for permanent class scheduling. February the 4th, y'all, 10:15 a.m. February the 4th, 10:15 a.m. To receive a closed briefing on certain intelligence matters, February the 4th, 2025, 2:30 p.m. Make community banking great again. Committee meeting, Make Community Banking Great Again, February the 5th. Those of you following the finances and following the money, February the 5th at 10 o'clock a.m. Hope on the Horizon, prioritizing small business growth in the 119th Congress. That's happening February the 5th, 10 o'clock a.m. The State of Education, American Education, February the 5th, 10:15 a.m. The State of American Education, February the 5th, 10:15 a.m. To receive a closed briefing on certain intelligence matters, February the 5th, 2:30 p.m. February the 5th, 2:30 p.m. And the very last one for today, VA first, veteran second. The Biden-Harris legacy. Wow. February the 6th, 2 o'clock p.m. February the 6th, 2 o'clock p.m. So, keeping up with Congress, we're going to move on to our next, which is legislation, y'all. Let's move on to legislation. All right. Let's get started with these bills. Senate Bill 66. Senate Bill 66 is a bill to amend Title V United States Code to instruct Inspector General to report to Congress on social media communications. So those of us who were watching TikTok, here it is, y'all. Here's a bill that will report to Congress on social media communications. So this is a Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican out of Missouri, Senate Bill 66. Senate Bill 67 is a bill for a right of action against federal employees for violations of rights secured by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. So a bill for a right of action against federal employees for violations of rights secured by the First Amendment. Again, Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican out of Missouri. I went and I looked this one up because, again, we're here to learn and we're learning together. So what does this Bill of Rights? It says it's a Bill of Right of action against federal employees for violations of rights secured by the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States essentially proposes a law that would allow individuals to sue federal government employees in court if they believe those employees have violated their First Amendment rights, such as freedom of speech, press, religion, assembly, or petitioning the government. So that is Senate Bill 67. Senate Bill 67. Senate Bill 68, a bill to prohibit the suspension of collections on loans made to small businesses related to COVID-19. Senator Joni Ernst, Republican, Iowa, a bill to prohibit the suspension of collections on loans made to small businesses. So he is wanting to stop the suspension and prohibit the suspension of collections of loans. Senate Bill 69, a bill to amend the Communications Act of 1934 to address governmental interference and content moderation decisions by providers of interactive computer services. A bill to amend the Communications Act of 1934, and I wanted to look up what the Communications Act of 1934 said. So the Communications Act of 1934 is a United States federal law that established the Federal Communication Commission, the FCC, and consolidated federal regulation of all forms of communication, including the telephone, telegraph, and radio, giving the FCC the authority to oversee and regulate these industries, essentially bringing all communication under one regulatory body. So that is Senate Bill 69. They want to amend the Communications Act of 1934 to address governmental interference in content moderation decisions by providers of interactive computer services. So that's Senator Eric Schmidt, Republican, out of Missouri. Senate Bill number 70, Senate Bill 70, a bill to require the imposition of sanctions with respect to Ansar Allah and its officials, agents, or affiliates for acts of international terrorism. This is Senator Ted Cruz, Republican, out of Texas. Wanted to look this up because I've never heard of Ansar Allah. So who is Ansar Allah? So it was actually an executive order issued by President Trump in regards to Ansar Allah. So this order sets in motion a process by which Ansar Allah, also known as Houthis, shall be considered for designation as a foreign terrorist organization. Supported by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force, which arms and trains terrorist organizations worldwide, the Houthis have fired at U.S. Navy warships dozens of times since 2023, endangering American men and women in uniform. Goes on to say the Houthis activities threaten the security of American civilians and personnel in the Middle East, the safety of our closest regional partners, and the stability of global maritime trade. So this is an executive order that was issued by President Trump, but there's a bill to require the imposition of sanctions. Senator Ted Cruz. Senate Bill 71. Senate Bill 71 is a bill to require Amtrak to install baby changing tables in bathrooms on passenger rail cars. This is introduced by Senator Welch, Democrat out of the state of Vermont. So it just shows you the landscape of bills and legislation that's being introduced. Here's one for changing tables on the Amtrak. Senate Bill 71. Senate Bill 72 is a bill to remove aliens who fail to comply with the release order to enroll all aliens on the ICE non-detained docket in the Alternatives to Detention program with continuous GPS monitoring. Senator Ted Cruz, Republican out of Texas, putting trackers on the illegal aliens. Again, Senate Bill 72. Senate Bill 73 is a bill to amend Title 16 of the Social Security Act to provide that the supplemental security income benefits of adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities shall not be reduced by reason of marriage. Interesting. So, yeah, if they were to be married, looks like they were taking some of their Social Security. So again, that's Senator Jerry Moran, Senator Republican out of Kansas. Senate Bill 74. Senate Bill 74 is a bill to require the Attorney General to submit to Congress a report relating to violence against women and athletes. This is Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican out of the state of Tennessee, a bill to require the Attorney General to submit to Congress a report relating to violence against women. So I wanted to understand what this violence against women was all about. So look that one up as well. Found an article from her office. Senator Marsha Blackburn's office says, the U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn introduced legislation to stand up for women and girls in sports. Says this effort includes a resolution calling on the National Collegiate Athletic Association, the NCAA, to revoke its transgender student athlete eligibility policy, a bill to assesses and prevent violence against women in athletics, and a resolution declaring October 10th as American Girls in Sports Day, which Senate Democrats blocked last Congress. So this is a bill to protect women and girls in sports, introduced by Senator Marsha Blackburn, Republican out of the state of Tennessee. Senate Bill 75. Senate Bill 75 is a bill to modify the government-wide financial management plan and other purposes. This is Senator Lankford, James Lankford, Republican out of Oklahoma. What is the financial management plan, this government-wide financial management plan? I wanted to look that one up as well. So I found his actual bill, didn't find any articles or information from his office, but did find the bill. I'm going to zoom in some so you can see it a little better. Let's see. Oh, it gets a little distorted as I zoom in. I'm not going to be able to read it, but let's try here. It says, it shall be the duty and responsibility of each agency chief financial officer to oversee and provide leadership in the areas of budget formation and execution, planning and performance, risk management, internal controls, financial systems, accounting, and other areas as the director of the Office of Management and Budget may designate. So this was kind of hard to read, but I definitely was trying to understand, and we probably need to dive in a bit further, what this legislation was actually speaking to. So a bill to modify the government-wide financial management plan. That again is Senator Lankford. Another bill from Senator Lankford is to improve the Senate Bill 76. Senate Bill 76 to improve the effectiveness of major rules in accomplishing their regulatory objectives by promoting retrospective review. To improve the effectiveness of major rules in accomplishing their regulatory objectives by promoting retrospective review. Senator James Lankford, looking back on policy to improve the effectiveness of major rules. So Senator Lankford is about cleaning up and getting it right in Congress. Senator Langford again, Senate Bill 77 is a bill to require agencies to publish an advance notice of proposed rulemaking for major rules. So he wants an advance notice of proposed rulemaking for major rules. Again, Senator Langford. Senate Bill 78, Senator Langford, again, a bill to require certain agencies to develop plans for internal control in the event of an emergency or crisis. Senator Langford, I wanted to look him up. I wanted to know more about Senator Langford, and I did. So he is a senator out of Oklahoma. It says Senator James Paul Langford is an American politician and Southern Baptist minister. That's probably why. I wanted to look him up. I could feel something there. Southern Baptist minister, serving as the senior United States Senator from Oklahoma. A member of the Republican Party, Langford has represented Oklahoma in the U.S. Senate since 2015. Senator James Langford. Another bill, Senate Bill 79, Senator Langford, a bill to amend Title 41 United States Code to prohibit minimal educational requirements for proposed contractor personnel in certain contract solicitations. So he wants to prohibit minimum educational requirements for proposed contractor personnel in certain contract solicitations. Senator James Langford. Another bill, Senate Bill 80, Senator James Langford, is a bill to amend Title 31 United States Code to improve the prevention of improper payments. Improve the prevention of improper payments. Senator Langford. Senate Bill 80. Senate Bill 81, Senator Langford, a bill to require guidance clarity statements, a guidance clarity statement on certain agency guidelines. So a bill to require a guidance clarity statement on certain agency guidelines. He's about cleaning stuff up. Senate Bill 81. Senate Bill 82, Senator Langford again. A bill to amend Title 5 United States Code to address telework for federal employees. Senate Bill 82. So yes, that was Senator Langford was on a roll right there, y'all. I had to look him up and even followed him on Twitter. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. Keeping up with Congress. Senate Bill 83. Senate Bill 83 is a bill to amend Title 18 United States Code to provide enhanced penalties for convicted murderers who kill or target America's public safety officers. So that's Senator Ted Cruz, Republican out of Texas. Senate Bill 84. Senate Bill 84 is a bill to require U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement to take into custody certain aliens who have been charged in the United States with a crime that resulted in the death or serious bodily injury of another person. So this is Senator Joni Ernst, Republican out of Iowa, Senate Bill 84. Senate Bill 85. Senate Bill 85 is a bill to require the Secretary of the Interior to partner and collaborate with the Secretary of Agriculture and the state of Hawaii to address rapid Ohio death and other purposes. So this is Senator out of Hawaii, Democratic Senator out of Hawaii, Senator Hirono. And I wanted to understand what this rapid Ohio death was. So here it is, rapid Ohio death. ROD, as the acronyms, is a newly identified fungal disease currently attacking and killing Ohio on Hawaii island. This fungus clogs the tree's vascular system, depriving the canopy of water, and may kill Ohio very quickly. Ohio is the keystone species in Hawaiian forest, and ROD, which is the acronym for Rapid Ohio Death, has the potential to cause major ecosystem disturbances that will negatively impact watersheds, cultural traditions, natural resources, and quality of life. So I wanted to understand what this was. So fungal disease in the forest with the trees. So again, keeping up with Congress, we're here to learn together. All right, Senate Bill 86. Senate Bill 86 is a bill to repeal the provisions of law that provides automatic pay adjustments for members of Congress. Senator Rick Scott, Republican out of Florida, a bill to repeal the provisions of law that provides automatic pay adjustments for members of Congress. So I wanted to hear what Rick Scott had to say about this automatic pay adjustment. So did go to his website and found out Senator Rick Scott and his colleagues reintroduced bill to end automatic raises for members of Congress. I thought it was an interesting read. So it says here, today Senator Rick Scott, Mike Braun, and Josh Hawley introduced their bill to repeal automatic annual pay raises for members of Congress. Here's what Senator Rick Scott had to say. He says, our country is facing a serious debt crisis that must be addressed. We have hit our limit. America's credit card is maxed out with $31 trillions worth of debt, thanks to Washington's obsession with spending. Each day that Congress fails to do its basic duties like pass a budget or allow the border crisis to go unchecked, Congress has failed the American people. In the real world, if you don't do your job, you don't get paid, and you definitely don't get a raise. Congress should be no different. And I urge my colleagues to support this common sense bill. That was from Senator Rick Scott. Here's Senator Mike Braun. He said every American got a pay cut last year from record high inflation, grocery and gas prices under President Biden and Congress's reckless spending spree. The last thing Congress should be getting is a pay raise. Senator Mike Braun. Senator Josh Hawley said pay raises are not something elected officials are simply entitled to receive. This legislation removes unnecessary automatic pay raises for members of Congress and serves as an important reminder. The American public, the people who sent us here, are the number one priority. I ain't mad at them. I'm really not. Again, that was legislation, Senate Bill 86, Senator Rick Scott, Republican out of Florida. Senate Bill 87. Senate Bill 87 is a bill to amend the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 to modify work requirements under the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. This is a bill to amend the Food and Nutrition Act of 2008 to modify work requirements. Senator Rick Scott, Republican out of Florida. Senate Bill 88. Senate Bill 88 is a bill to provide that members of Congress may not receive pay after October 1st of any fiscal year in which Congress has not approved a concurrent resolution on the budget and passed the regular appropriation bills. So you don't get paid. Senator Rick Scott, Republican out of Florida. There it is. Senate Bill 89. Senate Bill 89 is a bill to reform restrictions on the importation of firearms and ammunition. Senator James Risch, Republican, Idaho. Senate Bill 90. Senate Bill 90, a bill to prohibit the use of funds by the Secretary of the Interior to finalize and implement certain travel management plans in the state of Utah. And I looked this one up. Senate Bill 90, a bill to prohibit the use of funds by the Secretary of the Interior to finalize and implement certain travel management plans in the state of Utah. And I'm like, travel management plans? Why is there a bill coming out of Congress around Utah's travel? I didn't understand it. So again, we're learning together, keeping up with Congress. So it goes on. I found an article. It says Lee bill would block the BLM Utah Travel Management Plan. It says a coalition of Utah Republicans have filed legislation invoking a 19th century mining law to block the Bureau of Land Management from implementing a series of travel management plans in the state that critics say emphasizes conservation over public access. The article goes on to say Senator Mike Lee, chair of the Energy and Natural Resources Committee, on Tuesday filed S90, which would prohibit BLM, which is again the Bureau of Land Management, from using federal funds to finalize or implement more than a dozen travel management plans until pending lawsuits are resolved under ownership of thousands of miles of roads crisscrossing the federal lands in the Beehive State. Senator John Curtis is co-sponsoring the bill. So this is about federal lands and the travel and the roads. It goes on to say, I didn't highlight it, but it says the issue revolves around thousands of miles of dirt roads the state and numerous counties argue were authorized under revised statute 2477, an 1866 law that allowed for the construction of roads across unreserved public land. So roads, construction, so they're in a fight for land and roads and the management and blocking Washington. So quite interesting piece of legislation. I thought all of it is interesting to me. Again, I like policy. I like seeing what they're doing, keeping up with Congress. I know this is for some people, reading this stuff is not fun. It's not fun, but I don't think it's necessarily fun. It's just the way we have to keep up with what's going on around us. And if we're not reading policy, which most people don't have time to sit and read this stuff, we won't know what's going on. And there's so much going on in Washington that we cannot not be engaged. So again, this is Keeping Up with Congress. We are here. I am here Monday through Thursday, 5 o'clock p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll find it right here on YouTube. Monday through Thursday, 5 o'clock to 5:30 Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Keeping Up with Congress. Support the broadcast, support the work. This is a lot of reading. This is a lot of work that I am totally committed to. Go to the website. It's Tamara Shealy, TAMARASHEALEY. Tamara Shealy is right here in the description. Go to the website, donate, get a book, support keeping this kind of information flowing and coming. There are thousands of bills that have been initiated in that will be initiated in Congress. We're only on the first 90 in the Senate. We haven't even touched the House yet. So just imagine the magnitude of what's going on around us that we have no clue about. So again, this work is important. Please go to the website, donate, support. There's a lot of research involved, but we're keeping up with Congress because this is how we win.